Our wonderful and amazing viewers, subscribers, both old and new, I greet una. I say make I welcome una back to another time here. Our name, as you all know, na Everyday People's Voice, and na from correct sources we dey gather our information. But if today na your first time to come across our channel, abeg make you help us subscribe, like and share our videos, and God will bless you. This video wey una wan watch so, go shock una. Make e not be like say na we dey talk am, na from the horse's mouth una go hear am. This na to prove to una say we get evidence of many things wey dey happen for this our country. Na to watch the video, my people, make I no waste una time. Let's dive into the video at once. Make it not be like say na we dey talk all these things. I think una understand me so.
And of course, there was a lawsuit that was instituted by some states, and the further operations of the anti-graft agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is under threat. The suit was instituted by the Kogi State government and 15 other states, and is contesting the constitutionality of the laws establishing the EFCC. The Supreme Court has scheduled that it will hear that matter on the 22nd of October on this suit filed by the 16th state government challenging the legality of the EFCC. Meanwhile, we have seen the opinions of a prominent senior lawyer and former NBA president, Mr. Olusegun, who drew the attention of the National Assembly to constitutional issues relating to law enforcement agencies in Nigeria and factors inhibiting the government's objective of abolishing corruption as stated in Section 13 of the Constitution. Well, in two separate letters, Mr. Olusegun wrote to the National Assembly, to the Senate and the House of Reps on a letter dated 14 October 2024, and he has said the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission was an unlawful organization which he believed was unconstitutionally established. He said, quote, I very strongly believe the EFCC is unconstitutionally established. The powers under which it was established go beyond the powers of the National Assembly. The EFCC is an unlawful organization. That's according to Mr. Olusegun, a former NBA president. Meanwhile, human rights activist and lawyer Fälanä has written to the president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives to oppose a view expressed by the ex-president of the Bar Association, Olusegun, regarding the legal status of the EFCC. To get more clarity and insight into this, I have joining me Mr. Fälanä, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is live for us in Lagos. It's good to see you tonight on the program, Mr. Fälanä. Nigerians would like to know your views because you have said you do not agree with the stance of Mr. Olusegun, who says that the formation or the establishment of the EFCC is on a faulty ground.
Well, with profound respect to my very good friend and colleague, Dr. Olusegun, it's not a new argument, really. When the ICPC was established in the year 2000, there was a case instituted by the Ondo state government against the federal government, and all the other states were defendants. In that case, the Supreme Court subjected the Establishment Act of the ICPC to a serious constitutional interpretation and came to the irresistible conclusion that the version of Section 15 subsection 5, which has imposed a duty on the Nigerian state to fight corruption, the ICPC was properly created by the National Assembly in exercise of its powers under Section 4 of the Constitution. In like manner, the EFCC was also created by the National Assembly to fight other economic and financial crimes. And we must not forget the fact that Nigeria is not operating on its own alone. By the year 2001, Nigeria had been blacklisted by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, otherwise called Groupe d'Action Financière in French. This body had blacklisted 33 countries for not cooperating enough in the global fight against money laundering. And that each of these 23 countries will have to put in place an agency or a commission to fight money laundering, advanced fee fraud, and other economic crimes. And that was why the EFCC Act was drafted and sponsored by the executive in 2002. As a matter of fact, the law was enacted in 2002. The EFCC was established consequently in April 2023. Again, by 2004, 2003, by 2004, the law was amended to take care of other concerns. For me, the ICPC and the EFCC, like the Code of Conduct Tribunal, have come to state what we should be demanding are measures to make these institutions autonomous, not under the control of any government. And the Supreme Court has maintained rather repeatedly with respect to the EFCC, that or the EFCC and ICPC, that these are common agencies, not that shouldn't be under the control of the federal government. They are common agencies to fight economic crimes in our country, to fight financial crimes in our country, to fight corruption in our country.
So, Mr. Fälanä, apologies, if I may jump in quickly. There are those who will say, yes, some of these anti-graft agencies have come to stay. They've been established, they've been doing their jobs. But the question will be, is it established in law that the processes through which they were established in the first place was faulty? Guarantee that they have been established.
No.
Can we say that next time, are we able to learn that the EFCC, for example, was wrongly or faultly established against the constitution of the federal government, considering the processes through which such an establishment should be put in process in the first place?
I am saying, Sheung, the EFCC and the ICPC were established the same way. It was the executive that sponsored the bill under the Olusegun Obasanjo administration. One was established, the law was enacted in 2000, the other one in 2002, amended in 2004. So it's the same method, i.e., anchored, the two bodies were established in pursuance of the duty imposed on the Nigerian state under Section 15 of Section 5, that the Nigerian state, Nigeria shall abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power.
Mr. Fälanä, the legal argument, the legal argument is whether or not the federal government can imposingly establish these without the consent of the state, which according to the constitution has to be carried along. Those are the arguments, isn't it, before the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court made the point in the case of AG Ondo and AG of the Federation that this duty is imposed on the federal government and the state government. And in other words, state governments are also not prohibited from setting up their own agency. The Kano state government has done that since the time of, I think, of Governor Shekarawu. And that body is fighting corruption. Even though there are efforts by the federal court in Kano to frustrate the work of the agency. I think Oyo State also has its own agency. Even Lagos State enacted its own law. The body has not been put in place. So the state government are also required to set up their own anti-corruption agencies. If they so desire, these bodies are to work with the EFCC and the ICPC so that the menace of corruption and other economic crimes in our country can be frankly attacked. But this battle is ideological. We are talking of big people, former governors, city governors, president, and the rest of them. But nobody is talking of the poor. Today in Lagos, and this has not interested your medium. Today in Lagos, 22 young people were arrested for trying to lay a wreath in memory in honor of those who were killed in nlegit or in Lagos State during the NSAS protest in 2020. On Tuesday, about 76 Nigerians are going to be charged with two-level felony for protesting against worsening economic conditions in the country. But it's only when it concerns the rich or the bourgeoisie. Oh, this law meant to fight corruption is illegal. This law meant to fight money laundering is illegal. But I am saying the Supreme Court has made the point. And it's not just in one case. AG Ondo State and AG of the Federation, Shema, Governor Shema and FRN, Dari and FRN, Yame and FRN, and so on and so forth.
Mr. Fälanä, so apologies. Yeah, the question, and by the way, sir,
properly created to fight.
But by the way, sir, we are covering that matter you mentioned in Lagos and the subsequent release.
Yes.
But I'm making direct reference to Section 12 of the Constitution. And there are legs into subsection 1,
yes,
2, and if you look at subsection 3, there is, the Constitution is very succinct. It says that this section shall not be presented to the President for assent and shall not be enacted unless it is ratified by a majority of all the houses of assembly in the Federation. And that is the point that some of these states are furthering in the court to say they were not aware. The federal government went all by itself to procure or to establish this institution, and on that grounds, they are left out in that process, and on that grounds, that establishment is faulty and unconstitutional. Is it possible for us to repair it as a people? Because that is, to some people, ultra-vires.
You can only invoke Section 12 of the Constitution if you are talking of an agreement that has been ratified by Nigeria or by the President on behalf of Nigeria. And the law says such an agreement or a treaty will not become enforced, cannot be enforced in Nigeria unless it is domesticated, unless it is enacted into law by the National Assembly. We're not talking of any treaty here. We are talking of a law, of a bill sponsored by the executive, passed properly by the National Assembly. Nobody has said the required majority did not pass either the ICPC bill into law or the EFCC law bill into law. So we're not talking of Section 12. We are talking of Section 15, subsection 5, that has imposed a duty on the federal government, the state government, and local government to fight corruption and abuse of power in Nigeria. That's all. That's it.